this reading is going to be all about new beginnings. So the intention is to get some information for you about how to move towards your new beginnings. And the way we're going to do that today is simply but powerfully by pulling two cards. And the first card is going to represent what to move away from, or maybe better put, like what to let go of. And then the second card is going to represent what to adopt or what to move towards, with the intention of embodying the energy required to activate and unlock your new beginnings. Now, it's really interesting. I'm just thinking about this as I'm saying all that. I have to tell you the story of these flowers as I shuffle and pull the two cards, because it kind of relates to new beginnings. It kind of relates to following different roads. So I thought about doing a new beginning reading simply because of these gorgeous sunflowers. I mean, I just feel like sunflowers are so bright, so beautiful. They almost represent like the sun card in the tarot deck to me. And then, like, oh my God, look at this little cutie pie. This little cutie pie was a bud yesterday when I picked her, and then all throughout the day she's just been waking up. So it started with these petals at the bottom, and then look at it like honestly felt like she was like like a little kid with like her hands over her eyes, just like slowly waking up all day. It's almost too much. So okay, back to the story. So yesterday I was walking, and I often walk on gravel roads around my home, and I've lived in this particular place for over 7 years, you guys, over 7 years. And I'm walking one of my favorite loops, which is like here's the first card, which is like a 3-mile loop. And there's like another gravel road that goes to the right. And I have never been down this road. And I don't know why. There's no good reason. I just like have done my loop on this particular stretch, and I've like never been down the road. But down the road was a lot of beauty, but I end up finding sunflowers in the ditch. Like, I can't believe it, because I don't have any sunflowers planted in my garden. And there's a second card. Okay. And I had seen that sunflowers were for sale. I think I'm going to do bottom of the deck too, because I did peek at it. So we'll do that. I had seen sunflowers for sale in the grocery store and thought about getting them for the readings. But at this point, I haven't purchased any flowers to do in the readings. They are all flowers from my own yard and garden, or flowers I find in nature. So I was like, I don't, like, I would love to do a reading with sunflowers, but I just, I don't want to purchase them. I just want to kind of keep it a little more organic and have nature talk to me. So it was so bizarre, you guys, when I found these in the ditch. I mean, like, can you believe it? And it was so interesting because like I got pulled down that road. So I have walked that loop literally probably at least 100 times now, if not more. I could probably say hundreds of times. And I have never gone down that road. And then yesterday I was called down that road, had no idea why, was enjoying it. And then I come across these beauties. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So thank you for indulging me, or letting me indulge myself with this story, because it has been such a joy to have this channel for so many reasons. But one of the very, very unexpected ones is how the flowers in nature have played into it, and how that's changed my relationship with nature and flowers, and how I'm, beginning to be almost like hearing their whispers, so to speak. And so I say all that to bring it back to your journey as well. And that is, to say that the intention of this reading is new beginnings, like, or the theme of this reading is new beginnings. And sometimes I do think it can be as simple as that, right? Like how do I want to say it? It's not like as simple, but like when it's time, you go down a different road, right? It has to be the right time and we can't force it. But at the same time, we can build our capacity to hear callings, right? To recognize affordances, to unlock things, to remove barriers to seeing things so that we're able to hear the sunflowers when they're calling and blooming. Do you know what I'm saying? And so like, I think there's something similar in this reading. So with that being said, we have your cards now. At the bottom of the deck is the Seven of Cups in reverse, which I absolutely love because the Seven of Cups, oh my gosh, I took a peek there. Under the Seven of Cups in reverse is the Ten of Pentacles upright. That's beautiful. So Ten of Pentacles is like wealth, happiness, just like things going well, straight, aligned. I mean, I'm just saying that. I don't typically say that for Ten of Pentacles. I'm just seeing that in the imagery of this card today. Okay, so that's beautiful. Under the Seven of Cups in reverse. And what I was going to say about the Seven of Cups is, you know, every card can be seen in negative and positive lights, right? But in general, Seven of Cups can mean like not being able to ground your ideas into reality, or maybe more accurately put, ground your dreams into reality. So it can mean like fantasy thinking, but in a toxic sense. So like not like daydreaming, journaling, wishing, none of that, but instead like I can't figure out how to actually experience what I know that I want. I don't know how to get what I want out of life. And so seeing the Seven of Cups in reverse at the bottom of the deck for this reading, even before we know what's going on here with these two cards, I think is such a beautiful sign, because what it's telling me is that you're on the brink of more and more actually grounding your dreams into reality, more and more getting what you want from life. And the intent, so I think it's like a validation or a little wink from the universe, if you're wondering. But then I also like think it's kind of like a validation that Spirit understands what this reading is about. We intended this reading to be about new beginnings and unlocking them, and it's kind of saying that's what's happening. And then as I'm saying that, like, look at this card. I've never noticed this in this particular card, but see how when Seven of Cups is in reverse, it almost like opens and there's this circle. So that's kind of like, I mean, it is reminding me of the sunflowers here for sure, but it feels like an opening, like light is being shown on your path. I don't know. It just feels really beautiful in this particular reading. So I think it's a great sign. So with that being said, everything is set now for us to get the information we need. And if you remember, the intention I set for these cards is not only unlocking new beginnings, but the first card here represents what you need to let go of or walk away from in order, or release is another way we could say that, in order to move towards these new beginnings. And this second card represents what you need to walk towards or accept or adopt in order to unlock these new beginnings. So it's almost like, again, that's kind of why I thought of it thought of the story of me walking with this sunflower story, because it's like I needed to let go of this like habitual loop that I'm on that particular place that I walk, right? And I needed to go towards something different in order to allow myself to find these beautiful sunflowers. So let's see what your cards are. Death in reverse. Isn't that interesting? And then the Four of Swords in reverse. Okay, so let's start with the Death card in reverse in the position of card one, which represents what you're being asked to let go of in order to move towards in order to unlock new beginnings, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it's almost like I kind of feel like Spirit is like sort of like joking with us in a little way, or playing with us, because the Death card in reverse in the letting go position is like saying to me, you need to let go of not letting go. So put another way, you need to let go of resisting change. There's something here about that. And I think it's so interesting because, especially considering the story I felt called to share at the beginning, a pretty simple story, right? But it is interesting when you think of that walking path that I told you about. It's actually gravel roads, but it's like a loop. The fact that it is a loop, right? And I go on that loop, multiple times a week, right? I walk that loop, and I've walked it so many times. Sometimes I walk it 2 times in one day, right? It's not the only place I walk, but hopefully you understand it's one of my favorite places to walk. So over the past 7 years that I've lived in this particular home, I've walked there hundreds of times, that loop over and over and over. And I've never taken that right that I took yesterday that brought me to these sunflowers, right? And so what did I have to let go of in order to let myself take that right? I didn't know I was being called towards sunflowers. I had no idea. I thought I was just going on a walk, right? But I had to let go of resisting change. I had to let go of not letting go, right? Because what does the death card upright symbolize? Actually, a lot of people can be scared of the death card, but I actually believe it's one of the most beautiful cards in the deck because it means that you're willing to let go and release in order to have a rebirth. And so I think there's a message here of just like looking at where you are resisting change. And it might even be unconscious because, as I'm walking that loop, the many, many times that I walked it, it's not like I was like, oh, I'm never going to take that right over here. Do you know what I mean? I just like kept following my loop. And then suddenly yesterday I was like, whoa, I'd like to go right today. Do you know what I mean? And so I think it's just like bringing from unconsciousness to consciousness. So just like allowing things to come into conscious awareness where you might be resisting change and doing whatever you can to allow yourself to release that baby step by baby step. Now this Four of Swords, if I'm going to be honest, is it's a little bit of a confusing message to me at this point. So with that being said, I felt like getting clarifier would be helpful. So I'm gonna do that now. Oh, look at that. That's a lot of clarifiers, but I think the Justice card is what the one on top that flew out wants to clarify the Four of Swords. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so this is a little more clear. Let me see if I can speak this out. So the reason that walking towards the Four of Swords in reverse was confusing me a little bit is because the Four of Swords in reverse can mean like you're burnt out, you're going to be burnt out. The Four of Swords upright can mean that would have made more sense to me, right? In the second position where we're asking, what do you need to walk towards to have your new beginning? Because that can mean like it's time to rest, it's time to recuperate. But because it was reversed, it wasn't giving me that vibe, but I wasn't quite understanding what it was trying to say because I didn't think it was saying like, hey, how about you walk right towards exhaustion? So with Justice being its clarifier, now take a peek at this interpretation of Justice. Look at this beautiful queen holding her sword straight up. And the reason I kind of like pause there is it's interesting because in this interpretation, she's looking back. And in this reading, what is she looking back at? She's looking back at death in reverse, this resistance to change, right? Cutting herself free from that resistance. And so I think what's being said is it's time for you to walk towards moving out of like being... give me a second here. It's like, so I don't want to say it's time for you to move out of rest and recuperation, but it's almost like time for you to move out of hiding and use your sword that Justice is saying. So like Justice often to me just like really is owning your sword of choice. Okay. So there's like something here about walking out of maybe like self-imposed restriction. Yeah, that feels right. So like Four of Swords upright in a really beautiful sense is like rest and recuperation. But like Four of Swords in reverse, if you're wanting to walk towards Four of Swords in reverse, what it's saying, because it implies like something positive if Spirit is asking us to walk towards it. So what's coming to me as I'm kind of word vomiting at you and speaking all this out is I think it's representing like self-imposed restriction. And so you're supposed to walk out of it. Well, you know what's interesting, as I'm saying all that, it's almost like both of these, I guess what's coming to me is that releasing is your biggest goal for moving towards new beginnings. So because it's like, it's almost like I can't say walking towards anything. Does that make sense? And then we've got this justice card really representing like cutting cords, releasing. And so what all of that is telling me is more than putting your focus on what you have to go towards, like trying to find your next goal or like your next wish. It's almost like you will, if you are willing to release, that is where your power lies to the frustration. So like, let's go back to Seven of Cups. Upright, it can be a really hard energy because it's like not knowing how to ground your dreams into reality. But remember, in reverse, to me, it often means like being able to ground your dreams into reality. And then remember, under the Seven of Cups in reverse, I saw Ten of Pentacles. And so beneath or with these cards being at the bottom of the deck, they're representing like the overarching influence of this advice from spirit, the why of what you're being asked to do, which is unlock new beginnings. Do you know what I'm saying? And what this is telling me is that because I'm having such a hard time, like it's such an interesting reading in terms of the Four of Swords in reverse, and I'm having such a hard time even putting words to what you're supposed to walk towards. So the message that now is giving me, again, after word vomiting all this out, is you don't need to focus on that to unlock new beginnings. What you need to focus on is cutting cords. Like, look at her, even like looking back, she's looking back to the past, right? You need to focus on releasing, removing barriers. And so what are you cutting cords from? What are you releasing? I think it's anything that you can recognize as toxic, whether that's relationship dynamics, whether that's habits, whether that's, so on and so forth. So you're just baby step by baby step, releasing. And as you do that, your new beginnings will be unlocked naturally. And well, and isn't that interesting? Like, I'm just kind of weirded out now that I just couldn't not tell you that story about the walking in the flowers, because I didn't even know I was walking towards the sunflowers. Do you know what I mean? I didn't put that as like, this is what you have to walk towards. So similar to like what this reading is telling us, it's saying just release and you will naturally be drawn to what is calling you, even if you don't know what is calling you. So I had to just be willing to get off of my loop yesterday. And then what was calling me was there, but I didn't have it in my mind that I was looking for sunflowers yesterday. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's like a similar vibe to this advice from spirit, that you don't have to have a clear picture of what you're going towards. And if you do have a clear picture, that's fine too. But regardless, the key to you unlocking more peace, more joy, more health, the key to you moving towards better is not having to know exactly where you're going, but instead being willing to release the past. So how do we release the past? We process it, right? We process it in healthy ways with supportive people. We process the past so it doesn't cling to us, right? And we process the past so we're not scared of change. Because ironically, when we have unprocessed trauma from our past, it becomes almost addictive, right? Different feelings become addictive. And we will also oftentimes try to unconsciously recreate our trauma so we can process it, right? And so the more we are willing to process the past with safe people in different ways, and if you don't have anybody safe in your life right now, then maybe it's finding resources online or at the library, in book form, in course form, in documentary form, to help you begin to process the past. Because the more you're able to do that, you're going to liberate yourself from this resistance to change, which is naturally going to get you off of that loop. Do you know what I mean? And what does that loop represent? I mean, in my life, that walking loop is a really beautiful thing. But I think in terms of this reading, it represents like this habitual, addictive. And when I say addictive, I don't mean to like label you as an addict. I mean to just say like what we do as humans when we're unconscious about something or we have unprocessed trauma, right? We just go on the same loop, right? Same thing, different form, different people, different places, same concept going on, right? And so we have to be willing to release in some way in order to find something new. And so I think this is actually a really, really, really beautiful, exciting reading, because what it's telling you is, well, and as I say that, I don't mean to bypass the difficulty of processing the past and processing past traumas. It's hard. And I also think when we don't know that this is what's blocking our new beginning, and we have this going on, but we're also trying to create on top of that, that ultimately is what creates the Seven of Cups, like not being able to ground our dreams into reality, right? But when we know this is what's going on and we put our focus on releasing and then gentle creation for different purposes, because I don't know about you, but it's been my experience that when I try to create for the purpose of like avoid or like having change, moving beyond, like for the purpose of new beginnings, like it doesn't always work that well. But when I deal with my past and then I create from the pull of inspiration, then I actually know how to ground my dreams into reality and more establish the Ten of Pentacles. Again, the Ten of Pentacles is just beautiful energy. It's abundance, it's self-sufficiency, it's joy, it's just beautiful. So I just think the message here is like, you have permission to not spin your wheels creating, but instead to realize that as you are willing to put your focus on removing barriers, releasing through processing the past, your creation mode is going to be a lot more fun, because you're going to be able to create more from inspiration versus from the intention of trying to force new beginnings. So I think it's really, really beautiful. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for allowing me to read for you. Thank you for letting me share these flowers with you and my flower stories. It's just like such a joy for me to do these readings, to have this channel. It's a relatively new thing. And I guess part of the reason I'm saying all that is because I did not know what this channel wanted to be. So it really is like a reflection of this reading in terms of like, I didn't have this picture in my mind, right? But I have been, especially over the past, half decade and really over the past few years, really been doing my best to process my past so that I could more and more move forward. And this channel is just such a beautiful representation of then, as I've done that more, like suddenly this inspiration has come and to create the channel, but then it also unfolds in ways that are just so, like, honestly, they feel miraculous and charmed and beautiful. And so it's just such a joy. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in, because, if you didn't tune in, I wouldn't be doing this. But I also wish that for you. And I feel that for you, coming more and more of this, like your own version of it, right? Yours probably isn't going to be arranging flowers and talking to, plants in the ditch. And feeling their call on your walk, but you obviously have your own version of that, and I wish that for you, and I also want to thank you so much for allowing me to share my version.